All right, there it is. We're also live on YouTube. All right, cool. So we have some of us here. You can see the screen. Oh, who we got? Angie, Cruddier, Pond, whoever that is. We got Jackson, Janaya, Calais, Priscilla, Sarah, and Typhoid, whoever that is. All right. So, making sure I got the viewers on here. Yep, very cool. Okay, I'm going to start from scratch. So again, this is Zbrush. We're gonna hit comma to send the light box away. Then for this one, I'm just gonna go over here, click on cylinder. This is fine, the default cylinder. I'm gonna, the way you place it, you hold shift and now it's snapped. Okay, so it's not gonna, you're just gonna control the size, but without shift held, you got all these weird angles. Just hold shift, it'll be nice and just balanced. Now that I put the cylinder in here, hit T, and we are in edit mode. Currently it is still a polyframe. I'm sorry, not a polyframe. It's not a polymesh yet, it's just a primitive. So I'm gonna go over here, click make polymesh 3D, and now we can edit this thing. I already set up my reference in the background. There it is right here. I'm going to use this. We're just going to repeat a little bit of what we did in class before, and we'll push past it to show the fins and all that good stuff. Can y'all see my reference at all? Is it showing up on the screen? You just type on Discord. Yes, okay. So we can see the Orca reference over here. Cool. Okay, so first thing I want everybody to pay attention to, okay, is gonna be where this is facing, okay? Because right now, this is a sphere, so we can rotate it around. It's gonna look the same to us, but on something like this, we want to make sure perspective is off. We want to make sure perspective is off, and just get a nice profile view. And you notice that if you see the top or the bottom or anything, and all I'm doing right now is I'm holding the right key. I'm not doing anything else. I'm just holding the right key and shift. Now alt and right key to rotate. Highly suspicious, Ben. Highly suspicious. It's fine. Just chill out. It's fine. It's probably allergies. Now I'll tell you, like for me, it feels like allergies. Like I've had this before. I just want to be extra safe, Yeah, W to go here. Now notice perspective is off, the head is facing that way, and when you rotate it, just hold shift and it'll snap it. Now always remember y'all, with right click, all I'm doing right now is I'm not manipulating this mesh. I'm just changing where the camera, my viewpoint is what I'm manipulating when I'm rotating with right click, okay? When I'm manipulating the gizmo, this is where I'm actually manipulating the mesh, okay? So let's show it just in comparison to something static like the floor plane. So shift P, okay? And right here we got I'll turn see-through off for a second, okay? You see this floor plane? So this is static, okay? So right now you can tell that I'm moving the camera or the viewpoint, my viewpoint, you can tell that this is what's happening. I'm holding shift, it's snapping it, okay? Versus if I'm manipulating this, that's changing the mesh, but the viewpoint is staying the same. Get it? So that's going to be the important part. So we can leave that floor plane on for now, just so that we understand the difference between manipulating the camera versus manipulating the mesh. Manipulating the camera, manipulating the mesh. Okay? Control Z to go back. Now, see-through mode. I'm snapped to that perfect side view. I'm gonna hold this. I'm gonna hold shift again, and this is gonna give me. If you see under the, like right here, you're going to see that it gives you angles. When I'm not holding shift, it's just going to do it, you know, with those crazy decimals and blah, whatever. But if I hold shift, it's going to rotate at 5-degree increments, and that's basically what we want, right? So we're going to do that. And now I'm going to hold out. I'm just going to manipulate this a little bit, the camera view. Yeah, it's good to have the floor plane on so you understand when you're manipulating the camera and when you're manipulating the mesh, because otherwise you don't have a point of reference. Okay, so that's pretty good over here. And then I'm just grabbing that green box. You know, I place that around the middle. That way, with the green box, it's going to scale it uniformly, and it's going to get to right around where the main mass ends over here and where the main mass ends over here with the tail. Okay, not the tail, the nose. So next I want to remind you all about masking. So Shift F to sort of show the polyframe. So masking, you know, hold Control. You can grab this on this side. Control Tap to flip. I can hold Shift F again to make this go away. Right. So Control Tap will flip my mask selection. Okay. So I want the mask over here in the front because then I can Control Tap somewhere here, and it'll kind of smooth it out a little bit. Okay, and when it smooths it out, I can go over here to go Unmask Mesh Center, send it over here. It's not really where we want. I want it somewhere more here, so I'm going to hold Alt. That'll unlock this, and that would mean that I can move this without moving the mesh, right? If I don't, then I'm actually just moving the unmasked area. But what I want is to hold Alt and just move the pivot point to somewhere around here. I'll even bring it down to around that snout, and then I'm just gonna do a little bit of this. Okay, just a little bit. We don't need much. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. Do the same on the other side here. So flip, tap, tap, tap. Okay. Then Alt. I'm just gonna send this with Alt down to right around here. I can make it a little bit smaller if we want to. This is gonna be, we're gonna be playing it by ear, eyeballing it a little bit. It's a little bit. It's fine. It's fine if it's not perfect because we will be manipulating this further. And we can grab that middle part of the mask, feather it out, send this here. And remember, don't stretch upwards or downwards, because you do this, it might look good here, but then you change the camera angle, you realize it's squished. So change it uniformly. Scale it uniformly, which is this yellow one. Okay, we're just gonna add the chunk right around the middle here. Okay, I'm just gonna eyeball it into position. And if you all remember, while you're holding Control, you can change your mask tool. Hold Control, click here. You can change this to Mask Lasso, and that'll give you this. We'll come back to this more for the coloring part. Yeah, we'll do Janaya we'll do the coloring with the mask today, shortly. I'm gonna walk through the whole thing. We're gonna get this Orca done. So you'll see. The short answer is you mask with the lasso to select the area that you want to affect, and then whatever you do only happens to the unmasked part, and that's where, whether you're sculpting or painting, right? So I have this. I'm gonna go Q, and I'm gonna do BMV for the move brush. I want a nice big move brush, and I'm seeing, I'll go see through. I'm seeing a little bit more chunk down here, so big brush, because remember, you don't want to move small brush because it's just going to move small parts. You want a nice smooth transition, so we're going to move with a larger brush. We're just going to fit this, and we'll only make the brush smaller as needed. Also, we can hold shift. You notice the brush is changing. The brush is changing to blue. This is going to be your smooth brush, right? So, and over here, notice real quick, look at the intensity over here. Notice that my move brush, the intensity is at 51. You just remember this. When I hold shift, the intensity goes up to 100 because it remembers what intensity you set for the smooth brush. So by default, it's going to be maximum. I like to bring it down a little bit because, well, I'll show you. If I smooth, because right now I'm using the mouse. If I smooth at 100, sometimes it'll overdo it. I'm lacking a little bit more precise control. But if I bring it down to about 30, I can click this and just have a little bit more refined control on this, okay? That's about where we are. And remember, when you're smoothing, you are going to lose mass. So with the BMV brush, you can bring stuff back out to where you want them. And again, there's more detail in the front. Don't worry about it. We're going to add detail later, and that'll allow us to manipulate this. Right now, remember, we're working with the major forms, okay? Major forms. And I'm just kind of moving and smoothing, and only now I'm starting to use a smaller move brush, only now, okay? So we're around here. Okay, bring this out, bring this in, it's whatever, okay? Something like this, okay? And remember, they have a skull, and they have rib cage, just like the other animals we know, so just kind of be mindful of those subtle shape changes. And this is about where we left off, I believe. It's about where we left off. Okay. So with this, I'm going to also look for some kind of reference for the front just to get an idea. So Orca front. Just so that we have an understanding of it. And one of the first things that you're going to notice relatively often, this is orcas, I mean, they have skull shapes just like people do. You know, different people have different skulls and slightly different. This is not an orca. But you look at it from the front. Overall, the proportions, you have certain proportions you can expect. It's roughly cylindrical. It's roughly tubular. But you know, this one, you know, it's almost like a chamfered box. It's a little bit more straight, edged. You know, this one, we have an overall kind of, you can kind of see it's a little bit, for some of them, a little bit narrower in the top, some of it wider, you know. But overall, they're cylindrical. So, you know, just on various steps on the along the length of the body. Not an orca. Yeah, but using good reference for this just to get a good idea of what we're dealing with. So I know that I can roughly. It's usually a little bit. You'll notice this pattern there. It's usually a little bit taller than it is wide. Okay. So keep that in mind. If it's a little bit taller than it is wide, then coming here, and we don't have to stick to see-through as much for this one. We're just going to come over to the front, snap it. And remember, because I don't have perspective on, when I snap it, you know, it's not going to give me any fisheye distortion regardless of where it is on the screen. Okay, so I'm snapping it from the front. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure that this is on the center. I'm just going to squish it ever so slightly. Just slightly. Slight squish, okay? Just very, very slight squish. We'll probably need to add some mass over here, which we can do. I'm going to leave it in an angle. BMV, okay? And I'm going to turn on my... Ouch. I'm going to turn on my... headaches are not fun. I'm going to turn on my symmetry, right? And remember, even if you're over here, you're going to see symmetry with the extra ring around the outer kind of brush circle. And if you're at an angle, you're going to see the point on the symmetry where it's going to be mirrored right on the other side, you know, right? But you'll also, if you're over here and you don't see the other side because they're right on top of each other, you notice that they are going to be this point that just kind of snaps to wherever you have your your geometry. This point is going to be not hollow, but filled in. Whereas when symmetry is off, you can see that both of those points are kind of, or rather, when they're not on top of each other, you see that the other point is going to be a little bit smaller, and they're both kind of hollow. They have a light center, light creamy filling in the center. But if you turn symmetry off, they're not going to have it. So, all right. So we got this basic form done, okay? Now what we're going to do is, and this is where we left off in class, so definitely pay attention. We're going to be blocking in the other forms. There are several ways to do this. There are several ways to do this. I'm just gonna do a plane. And we can add thickness to it later. So, let's see what's going to be a good. Oh, you know what else I should do actually before that is I should grab Orca top. This is going to be a good practice to get into. We're just trying to get as many references from different angles. Ooh, this is a really good one. This is a really good reference. Okay, so you notice that tube shape, thicker around here where the rib cage and stomach is, and then just kind of thins out over the tail. And something else that's going to be, this is going to be a good reference. Something else that's going to be good for us is to get a nice top angle on those fins, on that pectoral fin, right, which is that front one, and the dorsal fin. Okay, so dorsal for the back, pectoral for the chest, right? Again, we can use this to get a starting point going. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you should be able to find some aerial shots, but yeah, this one will serve pretty well. This one is not bad either. Just notice the chunkiness and where it thins out, right? Even though this is not a photo, I mean this is, but you can see the shape where it's like it sharpens out in the front, okay, and then kind of slims down. This is a baby right here. So just chunkier around here and then slims out, okay? And then we have the forms. So keep that in mind. We'll use this as a reference as well, just to get that nice top view as well. And one thing to note when you are using those references with see-through is that things are not always going to match. So you just want to make sure that you're getting those proportions right, So on this reference, it's the other reference that we were using, it was kind of curving down, which is fine. We can just go back and forth. But right now all I care about is the top, right? So I'm going to move this, hold shift. There you go. Now we got the top. And now I want to compare the length. And you'll notice that you got too much chunk over here and not quite enough over here. Okay? But that's fine. We're going to be introduced to some interesting tools during this. Yeah, I think some of the changes that I changed might not have been symmetrical, or maybe the illustration is not symmetrical, but that's fine because we have a tool to make it symmetrical towards the end. So for now, while we're working, I'm going to turn on symmetry again. Like BM. No, you know what? I don't actually need to turn symmetry on because I can do the same thing that I have done with the masking control. I'll go back to that box mask rect for rectangle. Be right around here. And tap it. And we can just bring that in a little bit, like so. And I definitely want to bring this part out a little bit, like so. Okay, I still got much, so on here we're gonna do that. Let's see. And I got the proportions more or less correct. More or less correct. It's not going to be perfect. So what we can do also is BMV, and with symmetry on X, I can pull out the sides right here just a little bit, just to add a little bit more mass right here at the bottom part, like so. Alright, so far so good. Now I'm gonna show you the fin. So on my references, I'm gonna go back to this one, and we'll start with the dorsal fin. So a couple of ways of doing that. First, we're gonna make sure that proportions are good still. Alright, so what we can do is do a subtool. We won't do a plane, we'll do a box. Subtool, we're gonna insert. We're gonna insert anything, doesn't matter what it is, right? It does not matter what it is. What matters is the proportions. Again, we're just adding in a new. Oh yeah, it's facing this way, that's why. Oh, that's kind of cool. Anyway, it doesn't matter what it is because we're going to go to initialize, and we're going to do Q cube 22 is fine. Okay, we're going to do Q cube 22. We're going to hit solo real quick just so that we can focus on this cube. I'm changing my camera view for an angle just because I know I'm going to need it nice and flat. So something like this, just like we did with the lathe. Okay, we'll just build this separately. That's too thin. Something like, whatever, it's fine. We can deal with the thinness of it later. Okay. So because it's a 2-2 Q, you know, we have this vertex here, this vertex here, this vertex here. We can work with this. Okay, going back to here and see through, and we can control the size of it later. But we're just gonna build those fins separately by moving those vertices into position. And we want to make sure it goes deeper than the back, because later we will combine this all into a single smooth piece, and I'll show you how. We'll get to it. For now, I want it to be longer, right? Now move it so somewhere around here. Okay. Now, remember, we're not going to use the move brush on this. We are going to keep symmetry on, though. Is symmetry on? How would I tell? How would I tell? X, 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 X. You got to be on the model. See through. Turn it a little bit lower. So you see right now, symmetry is definitely on because we have the two rings. Okay? So somewhere around here. Now, this is important, okay? Remember, ZBrush doesn't always tell you what's selected on when you're working on low poly for masking. So you're going to have to just constantly clear the mask. Clear the mask. Control drag in empty space to clear the mask, okay? So we're going to go back to W. We're going to mask out this one. Or I'm sorry, we're going to Control Alt to unmask this point. And then we can move this point to where we want it to be. Let's say over here. Oh no, let's make this point the back, right here. Okay, clear the mask. I'm gonna grab this one, bring it to like here. Clear mask. I'm gonna grab this one, bring it to like here. Remember, deeper than the body so that it vanishes into it. I'm gonna grab, I'm gonna grab this one right there. Move it to somewhere around here. Clear mask. We'll grab that one again and just bring it a little bit taller. It's okay to have a sharp thing because we are going to smooth it, so it's going to be fine. Then we're going to grab this one, bring it to like here. Grab this one, bring it to right around here. Then we're going to grab this bottom one and just bring it forward so that we have this kind of weird transition. Okay. This is fine to start with, because once we smooth it, it's gonna be better. And we're gonna grab that one again. Remember, we have one over there just to give it a little bit of that extra squareness to it. Remember to always clear your mask. Okay, something like this. I'll grab maybe the front couple just to get a nice transition. Yeah, there's a corner right here. This one. And I might want to bring up a little bit to like here. Maybe I'll send this one back. Like so. Bring it higher. That's because I don't want my squares to be all inside themselves. Like this. This is not a great topology. But it's probably fine. Because it'll get smoothed out, okay? And what I mean when I say it'll get smoothed out is when we hit D to give it some topology, right? You get something like this. Okay, you get a little bit more, and you can kind of control it. And at this point, it's probably going to be a good idea to look at our references again. So we already know that the dorsal fin is going to be Orca Dorsal Fin. Hope you all are staying awake. So we can already kind of figure out what's happening with the form here. Dorsal fin is going to be just wider at the base and narrow out as it goes to the top, you know. Right? Wider over here as it comes out of the back. And just narrows down as it goes farther and farther away, just like from the front. It's, you know, wider over there. So for this, how we're going to approach that is in Zbrush, we're going to get a front view. And let me Shift D to go out of the dynamic subdiv. Okay, Shift F to see my polyframe. So what I want to do is I want to grab that middle one just for the sake of my topology and sanity. Okay, I'm going to place it right here, kind of like this. Alright, now I'm going to grab these bottom ones, all of them, move to the front, or even give myself an angle, because I know this is centered. Okay, this is centered, and on the red, notice I can make it wider or slimmer, right? So I'm going to make it just a little bit wider. And then the ones over here, after I cleared it, I can make those slimmer. And the ones over here, I'll make about halfway slim, not super, super slim. Something like this, okay? And again, we're going to have extra topology to play with, but even with just this change, we hit D. Hit yes. Now we have a little bit more. We have a little bit more to mess with. Now we want a certain point up there, right? So let me get out of solo just to make sure my proportions are correct. As you can see, they are not. So see through. And let me grab the correct reference over here. Either this one or this one. Yeah, other one. It's going to be fine. So now I can move this. Remember, I'm moving the camera and not my mesh. Because if I started moving my mesh or my subtool, let's not. You know, we're just changing the camera angle. We're zooming in and out to control. Again, with zooming in and out, we're gonna hold Alt. Then we're gonna hold right click. Then we'll let go of Alt while right click is still held, and that's gonna allow us to zoom. Or you can just control and right click, and you have that option as well if it's easier. Okay, so I'm gonna get it. You know, we're eyeballing it more or less into position. And now I can kind of scale this up a little bit to right around here. scale this side up in height. Then QBMV. I want to make sure that my symmetry is activated. Currently it is not. Hit X. Weird. It is activated. There you go. I just couldn't see it zoomed out. So with BMV, I'm going to go back to the front, control my zoom levels to make sure everything's good, and then I'm going to look at that silhouette, and then I'm going to just move this one out, move this one out, move this one out, move this one down. Notice I'm using a bigger brush because that allows me to have like slightly more fine control over these things. Okay, and I can probably even widen this whole thing, still be safe, somewhere like this. Or maybe the top is a little bit too shallow or too slim. Oops. So I just masked it, and now I can widen out the top a little bit. You know, I want it slimmer, but not that slim. So I don't want it like this. It's not a blade, right? So somewhere along those lines will make me happy. And I can also kind of grab this. Oops. Can also grab this middle part. Let's make sure I got enough topology. Flip this. Bring it in, bring it out. If you wanted to. No, I'm not even going to do that. I have regrets. Okay. This is going to be okay for now. This is going to be okay for now. Okay? So that's one fin. Remember right now, just like we did with the rock elemental, right? We're just building the pieces separately. And today I'm going to show you how to turn them into one continuous piece. Okay? But first we're going to build all the pieces. And for this, I'm also going to... Who did we lose? We lost somebody. I don't know. Okay. So now I'm going to change this to the top view. Okay. And I'm gonna append or insert whatever. It doesn't matter what. It does not matter what. It doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter how. It does not matter who. Because you can go right here to initialize and turn it into a Q-cube. Now if I'm going to solo, that Q-cube is going to be right here. However, when I move the pivot, it's going to be off to somewhere else in the world. So I'm going to hold Alt to reset that orientation. Remember, hold Alt to reset that orientation. If you don't hold Alt, it's going to keep that and move the mesh as well. Control Z. So I'm going to hold Alt just to reset the orientation on the pivot. And I'm going to hold this, press this without Alt to send it to the center. Okay? So this time we're working on the pectoral fin. And we're just going to follow a similar process from the top view. However, we're going to do something a little bit different. We will be only creating one side and then mirroring and welding it after the fact. Okay? This is going to be a new tool that we learned today. And how long do we have? Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to record the video. Y'all can watch this. It's fine. Let's see. Reference. Okay. So I'm not a huge fan of this pectoral fin doing this one. In my other reference, you know, it's a little bit smoother. It is a little straight here. So we have a certain kind of shape language here where we have a slight curve in the front and curves all the way to the back. And it goes kind of relatively straight and then it goes back in, right? And connects right here. Okay? Let's try to remember this. We're also getting some of that here, but with more bumps. I'm not going to have as much bumps. I'm just going to keep it nice and smooth. So I'm going to keep it nice and smooth. So right now the scale doesn't matter because it's a separate piece. We can tweak it later. But we can mask, bring this in a little bit. And then we can bring this in a little. Control Alt. We can bring in this piece a little bit like so. Remember, it's separate on this side, doesn't connect to the body, but this front leading edge, Control Alt. I'm just gonna increase that a little bit, make it more dramatic, okay? Now, it doesn't matter where it is. I'm gonna turn off the floor plane, you get it, right? Shift P. And this is just gonna be something that you probably wanna keep on. Alright, so I'm just gonna get the overall shape, Shift F. And remember that I wanna be at the top view because, excuse me. I want to be at the top view because then when I'm masking, it's selecting both of them, right? So I'm just gonna move this one right here, this one over here. I'm gonna move over here, clear this one in the middle. Oops, I'm gonna start right here. This one in the middle, we're gonna move in a little bit. This one we're gonna move to like here, and this one we're gonna move to maybe here. And this one we're gonna move to this this peak over here. And we got this one leading edge. We're gonna put it right around here. And we got this one. We're gonna put it right around here. Okay. And also I'm going to grab the top three ones and just push them in the body a little more. And oops. And remember, if I'm trying to widen it, but my pivot point is right here, then it's going to be weird. So what you want to do is send to unmask mesh center, and then it'll widen it away from that pivot, right? So just going to widen it a little bit, send that to the front. Even bring that in a little bit. Something like this. Okay, turn this off. I'm gonna check out my forms. See through, I'm gonna turn off. So one thing about this one and the other thing that we created is that they have this, and you know what else? These points I wanna bring in a little bit as well. Somewhere like here. Okay, so you notice that because we did the box in a certain way, we have this edge running across. We want to get rid of it. So a quick reminder of this: BZM. Okay, and then we can hover over this edge. By default, insert is going to be activated, right? And insert is what lets us create extra edges. But we just want to get rid of this edge, so we're going to hold Alt with this edge highlighted, and then it's going to get rid of that entire form. And what that does, we can show it right here. So what that does, geometry, dynamic subdiv. The smooth subdivision is gonna take it to 0 so that it stays there. I got some nice little shading errors, but that's fine. They're gonna go away when we add more geometry. They're still there. It's just getting folded strangely. So look, right now we have this form, right? But because they have extra edges here, it keeps that front kind of straight and such. So what I want to do is get rid of it. Hold Alt. There you go. And now it keeps it nice and round. It keeps it way rounder. Okay? And that's what I want. That's what I want. Okay? Keep it at 2. So subtool, we can come back to this. And we can move it to the side. As you can tell, it's a little baby flip-flop, flippity-floppity. Okay. What's up, Alan? Yeah, we're doing a Discord party because the professor is not feeling great today. Thank you. It's probably allergies, honestly. As the day's going on, I'm feeling more and more like it's allergies. But I'm gonna grab that test just to be sure. But it's very likely allergies. Let's compare and all this is going to be up on YouTube. I'll send you all the link later, so we should be good. It's probably going to be longer than the class time, just because I started a little bit later, and whatnot. So you can skip around as you need to. That's the advantage of having a video. If you're missing any part or if you want to focus on something. Yeah, and I'm still here. I'm still alive for now. So if there's any confusion, then having the access to the teacher over a random YouTube video, you can just ask me. So should be fine. Should be fine. All right. Let's go back to see-through. I just want, see here I'm actually rotating this. Hold Shift, hold Alt to zoom out. Just wanna, hold on, zoom out. Just wanna get my proportions somewhere in place. And because this is not the same animal from the different references, and it'll be kind of similar, but all I care about is the overall proportions. Okay, so I'm gonna send this to center. I'm gonna make this larger. I'll bring that out a little bit. There's just gonna be a judgment call on some of these. Okay, this is gonna be a judgment call on my end. Now I'm also going to move this pivot with Alt inwards. Now that the pivot is in, I'm going to rotate this to slide it down a little bit. And I'm also going to bring this out a little bit more. Something like this maybe. See how that feels. Proportionally. Yeah, remember I'm following two different references, so they're not going to be lined up perfectly. So I just got to favor one over the other. That's just the way it's going to be. That's the nature of what we do. So I'm going to be closer to this one. It's totally fine. I can take it all the way down, but I'm just going to make it slightly larger. Okay. Maybe bring it down a little bit. Bring it down to like here. Okay. And that's fine with me. We can always remember we're getting the main masses in. Main masses first. So it's not going to be perfect. It doesn't need to be because this is just the first pass. Okay, we just want to get it as close as possible. The closer we get it now and the smoother everything is the less work later. The less work later. Okay, so this is fine. Now we're gonna hit D to apply this, and you notice some things are better than others. So what we're gonna do is try to get a nice flat angle on it and BMV, and just with a large brush we just try to kind of move it into position just to get those forms we need. Okay, just to get those forms we need. So we got a little bit coming out here, kind of something like this, coming out more here, a little bit flatter here, something like this, and on some cases we can use a smaller brush just for finer control. And double check all the angles to make sure you're not getting this is way too slim. Luckily I haven't moved my rotation, so I can still thicken that out a little bit, like so. Thicken it out. Okay. Alright, close enough. Okay, I'm gonna select this body again. Okay, we got one fin here. There's a guy right there. 1 second. Okay. Ouch. That one hurt. So I can already tell this is not perfectly symmetrical, and that's totally fine because we're going to make everything nice and symmetrical. We're going to make everything nice and symmetrical real soon. It's allergies, Priscilla, chill out! No worries, Betsy. I gotcha. I know what you mean. All right. Yeah, thank you. So, where were we? Okay, so we got this part. Just chill out, Priscilla. Just chill out. It's fine. Everything's fine. Let's see. Oh my god, I'm so easily distractible. I'm worse than my dog. All right. So next we want to do the same thing on the tail, and we're gonna be able to keep it nice and symmetrical. So really, we're only gonna worry about one side for now. Although I am gonna be a little bit nitpicky, and this is part of what we do. Okay, we're just gonna be nitpicky along the process. We're just gonna be a little nitpicky. Okay. It's going to be a little nitpicky here and there. Just observing those forms. And always rotating, always checking. Okay? Alright. So next we want to work on that tail fin. For that purpose, we're going to do the same thing again, right? We're going to insert whatever. Alright? What do you want me to insert? You want this terrain? You want this plane? You want another cylinder? Copy of itself. Let's do this, a seashell. Okay, there you go. It's an Orca with a seashell engine. I agree, Alan. I agree. I don't know what you typed, but I agree. It's very wise. I'm going to smooth this out a little bit. It bothers me. Very subtle changes. You don't need much. You do not need much. Okay? Anyway, selecting this. This thing again, we're just gonna go to and just so you all understand, with solo, I got that seashell that I said I selected it, because you can always alt tap on things to select them. So I just went back to the seashell here, and we will initialize. We'll do a cube again. Okay, gonna move this cube back here. We're gonna flatten it out a little bit. Okay. Let's get a nice top view going. And we'll do to both sides of it, so just make sure that you give yourself a little bit extra. But we'll move it right here because we will be mirroring the sides, and I'll show you how when we get to it. Top view. So remember, every Orca, every individual is going to have a different, specifically slightly different, shapes for these things. So just pick one and stick with it. Look at your references. Just learn from it. So this top view is going to be working fine for me. So let's go back to see-through. Okay, mine's a little bit chunkier than this one, but that's fine. Somewhere around here is gonna be okay. So I'm still with the box. Shift F. Okay, we're just getting the main proportions. So you know what? And I regret this background being so zoomed out. So what I'm gonna do is come back to it, and this is on the browser. I'm gonna hold Control. Right, and I can also do this and just control that window to decide where it to decide where it's gonna be on my canvas. Okay, so you're able to control that. You do have some say in it. Okay, now I can go back here and see through mode. I can zoom in a little bit more, and that'll be a little bit easier for me. Somewhere around here. All right. Okay, back to the box, and we'll just try to keep, give a little bit more on the center line. Imagine where you see this shadow, this line right here is going to be the center line where everything's going to get mirrored on. So we'll just grab one side, and this is also important to not move this thing off of the center line. Okay, so Shift P for that floor plane, right? There's a center line right here where all of this is there's World 000, right? There's that center line. This is going to be important for our symmetry, for our mirroring and welding, so make sure you don't move it off the center. Okay? Yep. So from here, we'll be doing the same thing. So holding Alt, trying to keep it close to that center line. I'm actually gonna scale that whole thing right around here. That in. I already am detecting a slight problem with my planning, which will give us a perfect opportunity to use another tool. Okay, so I brought this out all the way over here. I'm gonna grab this guy, move it slightly inwards, and then grab this and move it slightly into like here. Okay, but I need another subdivision level going this way, right? So what we'll also do is grab this one. Okay, we need to add a little bit of thickness to it. So right here, just a little bit of thickness. And remember, when we're grabbing them, we want to grab them from the top so that it grabs the ones at the bottom as well. Okay, and then reset it here and add a little bit of thickness, because they got their tail and all that stuff, their body going back there. So the leading edges are going to be a little bit thicker. A little bit thicker. And now we'll grab these two and we'll make them so slightly slimmer, like so. Okay. Alright, let's turn off this for a second. Let's turn off the floor plane. We got too much going on. So Shift P, floor plane, and then solo is going to be right here. Just want to deal with this for a second. So BZM. Okay. Now remember, Alt, we're going to get rid of that edge loop, but going back to, oops. Let's rotate this to like here. Going back to see-through mode. You know that I'm missing something, and this is going to be a good chance for me to add it in. Close enough. So I'm going to add an edge right around here. Okay. And every now and then I'm doing this to clear this out. Okay, so this one, actually good where it is. And this one, I'll smooth it in. But the main one that I want to deal with is the one back here, which I want to bring to like here. And the one in the middle, I want it to be nice and even over yonder. There you go. Alright, that's the overall shape that I want to go for. And we'll be able to manipulate it a little bit later as well. So, yeah, getting that point out. So, let's press D. Yes. Okay. And here we are. Now, is it perfect? Of course not. But it's close. It's close enough that we can grab the BMV. S for the size. Just because remember, you want to control how much of the area is that you want to change. I can bring some of those in more, create that sharper edge. Something like that. Okay. And we can give it more thickness if we like. Okay, go out of solo. And this is more or less where we want it. More or less, more or less. Maybe I'll bring it in here a little bit. Then scale it sideways. BMV, maybe push this back ever so slightly. Maybe I want this one to have a sharper point, so a little bit like so, and we'll have the ability to manipulate this further later. Right now we're only manipulating the low poly because it's just easier. I'm going too fast. It's okay, I'm recording this. Where do you want me to go back to? Yeah, this is being recorded, so y'all will definitely be able to pause and play as needed when I put it up on YouTube. Let's see. How do you smooth out the shape? I look away and I just missed it. Oh, no worries. So this is gonna be D to bring up the dynamic subdiv, right? Dynamic subdiv. The shortcut is D. Okay. D. It's gonna give you a warning, and then you have dynamic subdiv for these. Okay. No, you are not turning this in today. This is going to be due next Tuesday before class. Next Tuesday before your class. Yep, that's right, Kanan. Thank you. All right. So, this tail is not in the right position, but it's okay. Because this gives us a good opportunity to do something. So we're more or less happy with this. I'm gonna hit apply, and this is gonna be important. This is something new that we're gonna learn today. There are two new things really that we're gonna learn. One is gonna be the mirroring and welding. And the other is going to be applying Dynamesh when subtools are welded together, or basically welding things together and controlling that topology. So this is going to be kind of our main takeaway for this assignment. This is the new skill that we're adding to everything else that we got. So let me just focus on this tail for now. Okay. So F. Okay, so this is going to be the tail fin. This is yes, this is how orcas come into our world every time. There's some underwater sculptor just building them piece by piece. Okay, so a couple of things. Mirror and weld are not going to work when you have a subdivision, and when but we do want that extra detail, right? So what we're going to do is after we hit apply to send it over here, we're going to go ahead and delete lower. That way we don't have any subdivisions. This is just going to be our topology. It's right here. This is just the way it is for now. Okay. So now that we have this is going to be a super cool thing. Okay. This is awesome. I use it all the time. Okay. So remember this. He's going to scroll right here to modify topology. Modify topology. Then right here we have mirror and weld, and it's gonna X is highlighted. It's gonna do this. So I'm just gonna click it. Check this out. Mirror and weld. Boop. All right. See this? Mirror and weld. So Right now I was slightly off the center point, so it didn't weld them, it just mirrored them. But let's say I BMV, or not even BMV, I'll be more precise than that here. Oh my god, chill out, Zbrush. Chill. Okay, so I'm gonna mask these. I should have unmasked that, but that's fine. I'm just gonna move it up a little bit. Move it about here. Okay. Now I'm gonna hit mirror and weld, and it actually did it wrong. Not exactly wrong, but it favors one side over the other. So what it's supposed to do is mirror it and weld it. Now sometimes it's gonna auto detect the wrong side as the side that you want to keep. So if you get this result, totally fine. You're gonna go back, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna scroll down over here to deformation. I know this is a lot. Remember, this is being recorded, and I'm here for you. Okay? You're gonna scroll down to deformation, and right here on mirror, you're just gonna hit mirror, and that's gonna send it to the other side. It's just gonna mirror it. Okay? So now we can go to mirror and weld. Geometry, mirror and weld. And it's going to give us this tail, and it's going to weld those points for the most part. If it hasn't done that super perfectly, that's fine. We can just undo that. BMV, we can move this one down a little bit like so, and then hit mirror and weld. And it's still being weird. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these guys and just send it way down. Okay? Now mirror and weld. There you go. Okay. So notice that this actually welded our topology. This is a continuous mesh. Okay. This is an actual continuous mesh. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Okay. So now we have this beautiful, beautiful, amazing kind of tail fin. Right? Very cool. And this is one way to get things from the other side symmetrical. So if you build only one side and you want to mirror and weld it into a single mesh, this is how it's going to be. Okay? And from here, we can do something like BMV. And I can push this up, push this down, you know. This is probably stuff that we should do at the end, though. So that's fine. For now, we have the tail. Okay? We have the tail. So we're going to move that into position. I'm going to give it a slight angle. Scale it up a little bit. I'm just going to move this into position. Okay. Now, whenever your symmetry is all foobar, okay, you can mirror and weld as well. Just remember that over here on dynamic subdiv, you can't have dynamic subdiv or anything like that. Okay, you can't have subdivision, and you can't have dynamic subdivision. So then you go down here, modify topology, and we'll see if and if this is not perfectly symmetrical, then I'm gonna hit mirror and weld, and it's gonna alter it slightly, and now both sides are perfectly symmetrical right on that center line. Okay, so we can come over here to this fin. Okay, and we're gonna yeah, we don't need to expand the topology of the fin because they're on separate sides, and eventually we're gonna weld everything into the body, but we're gonna do it in a different way, Betsy. So for now, just for when you want it continuous, you want to expand it over the center line and then mirror and weld, and it'll create that mirrored topology for you. And coming back to it, it's probably going to need to be a little bit higher, right around here. Okay. And I'm probably going to end up adding some mass, but yeah, a lot of these is going to be taken care of after we after the fact. All right, so far so good. So back here, on here we do have dynamic subdiv on. So remember, you hit apply, and then you're on 3, then you delete lower. Okay, you delete lower. That will allow you to go to modify topology. And normally ZBrush will prefer to mirror and weld. Like if it has 2 sides, it will favor the right hand side. It will favor this side. However, if there's nothing on that side, then it'll just auto detect that there's something here and assume that you're gonna want that. Okay, so I'm gonna hit mirror and weld. Let me put this in perspective. I'm gonna hit mirror and weld. Boop, and here's our other fin on the other side. It's magic. It's magic. Okay. So far, so good. So far, so good. All right. Now, this is, we have a nice and symmetrical kind of Orca, but it's in pieces versus, and by the way, this is the way we did the fins. This is how I would do eyes as well. I'll just add a sphere, but we'll do that last. We'll do that last. So, next thing that I want to do is I want all of this to be one continuous aerodynamic mesh. I don't want all of them to be separate pieces, you know. Over here in the geometry, I'm going to do the same thing with dynamic. I'm going to hit apply, then delete lower, because I'm okay with this being the way this is right now. Okay. And we're going to be messing with this topology a little bit more. So yeah, long video, but well, we're covering a lot of really important topics, and y'all have the weekend to practice this. And of course, I'm available to help. So on the body, I want to add a little more, so I'm going to hit D on this. There you go, just a little bit more smoothness, a little bit more of that smoothness. Okay, I like that way better. I don't want it at 2 though, because I'm going to add more later. So this is fine. I just want to add a little bit more. I don't want a crazy amount more, just a little bit more. Okay, something like this. I'm going to hit apply. Then I'm going to del lower just to keep this. Okay, so now we have the dorsal fin, the main body, the pectoral fins, and the tail fin. Next step is to turn all of them into a singular subtool, So to do that, there's a couple ways to do it. My preferred way is to keep it all here and just merge. You see right here, merge. Merge is going to be right here, a new thing. I know, we're learning a lot of new things today. So with merge, you have a couple of options. Usually merge visible is gonna create a new tool for you elsewhere. I don't like messing with that too much, but it's non-destructive, so it keeps all of your subtools over here and all your history. Because if you merge down, you go to the top one and you start merging down, it's gonna be the same as deleting these. You don't have Control Z. You can't undo this because it only controls the history of this one. So before we merge anything, we're gonna save the subtool. We're gonna save it. We're gonna save it somewhere. I got it on my other monitor. Work, fall 2021. And I'm gonna call this Orca 01. Okay. I'm gonna call this Orca 01. Let's save this as ETL. Remember, we're saving the tool. Now I have this backed up. Now I can go over here to the body, hit merge down. Okay. Now you see it disappeared. Now I can Control Z this, but this tail is gone because it doesn't have any history. Right now its history is beginning when it's merged here because its history got merged with this, the main body's history, okay? So we're gonna hit it again, merge down, and now the dorsal fin is one with it, and then I'm gonna do merge down, and it warns you, okay, one more time, and now we got this, okay? So far, so good. Now they're all one piece. They're all one piece. However, topology is not great. Ooh, what happened? This is a Cthulian Orca. We'll deal with this. We will deal with this shortly. Okay? So when you get weird stuff like this, now you got to realize something, that while they're looking like they're intersecting and they are the same subtool, they are in fact not one and the same. Okay, so for example, with W you can mask the body. Okay, I hold control and I'm masking this polygraph. I can move that around. Oh my god, what's going on? Oh, I know why. There you go. So I can move this around, and you can tell that these pieces are still there, and that's why we're always gonna get we're always gonna have this seam right here. You see this hard edge? It's not what I want. It's not what I want for this. I don't want those hard edges. I want nice hydrodynamic continuous kind of flow to this. So in hydrodynamic, those who are curious, is like aerodynamic, but hydro, right? Air, hydro, hydration, water. See, you go to school, learn things. So what I'm going to do next is, those of you who remember, Dynamesh actually has one very nice feature that allows us, and again, it's not the only way to do it, but it is one way to do it, and it's one way to do it well. So Dynamesh is generally going to be able to just convert all of those intersecting shapes into one continuous shape. Okay, so we're going to go over here to geometry, scroll down here, and we got Dynamesh. Okay, we got Dynamesh, resolution 128. It's not important right now, we'll see after the fact, but I just want you to see what happens when I, so remember, we have several groups, those are several separate pieces still, until we hit Dynamesh, like so. Hello, Honesty. Honesty, you gotta mute! Oh no! Ah! There you go. Okay, we're good. All right. So yeah, Dynamesh. Okay, and I'm going to show you this real quick. You're going to start noticing this right here. I'm going to Control Z. This is how everything looked before, and then when I hit Dynamesh on 128, it looks like this. Okay, a little wobbly here and there. That's totally fine. And let's see, Control Z. Let's see what happens with Shift F, polyframe mode. Okay. Now observe this. Dynamesh. Boop. Now don't worry about the polygroups, but notice that this is all now one continuous shape. One continuous shape. Okay? So what does that mean for us? Well, among other things, let me make sure symmetry is on. Among other things, it means that we can go, I'm going to turn Dynamesh off. Don't leave that mode on. Okay? That means that we can smooth this, and we're going to get this nice transition. Nice transition. See? Nice transition. Okay? This is going to be incredibly useful. However, there's other topological issues that I want to address. So I'm going to Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Okay? With this Dynamesh, I'm going to show you one more tool that is extremely useful for what we're doing. And that is another way to control topology, and that is called Z-Remesher. Okay? We're getting introduced to a bunch of new things today, and that's cool. Alright? That's cool because we got the video. Alright? We're going to help. It's going to be easy peasy. All you got to do is watch this 17-hour long video and you got it. It's easy. So, Z-Remesher, what it does is where Dynamesh kind of conforms everything to a grid, basically, just and tries to hit the same size. Z-Remesher tries to create topology that follows the flow of your mesh. Credier Pond 53, whoever you may be, it's not a whale, it's a dolphin. And he's an orca. And his name is, remember his because male pectoral dorsal fin. And his name is, let's do a class vote. Y'all can name while I'm working on this. We'll do a quick vote for his name. What do we got? That's right, Whale Killer Priscilla. That's right. Yeah, y'all can suggest names, and I'll pick the best one. Oreo. Oreo the Orca. He does have the right colors, more or less. Ooh, Sisu. Finnish word for spirit of strength. Oh. Frank. Those are all solid names over here. All right, just vote with thumbs up reactions. Just vote for them. Sasuke the Orca. Gonna give it an emo hairdo if I did that. We're gonna get to the eyes and we're gonna give it Sharingan. It's gonna be great. All right. Those are all good names. Y'all can vote for each other and we'll pick it out by the end of this video. All right. Excuse me. Anyway, after it's Dynameshed, right? Dynamesh is over here. After it's been Dynameshed, we can go to Zero Mesher. I'm sorry, not Testament. Zero Mesher. We're going to keep this real simple. We're going to get the flow going. We want to not have all these ugly edges, okay? So we're going to recontrol our topology. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on half right here. Zero Mesher, half, okay? And we're going to hit it. It's going to run some calculations up here. It's going to run those calculations, calculamications. Calculamications. There you go. Okay. So I'm going to show you with Control Z what happened here. Okay. So I'm going to go back and forth. So look, before, after, before, after. I'm going to do it again. Check out all this topology, all this polyflow. Okay. Before, this is the results of Dynamesh. Okay, it just follows a grid. It just goes up and down and has a few areas where it's a little bit wobbly just to make it fit to the form. But Dynamesh uses AI to control the flow. Now we're still getting these old low poly stuff from before. And we want to get rid of this one way. We still get some weird because this is an AI based topology. We're going to get some weirdness going on. Okay, so we're going to continue to hit Dynamesh with it set to half. Okay, so I'm sorry, not Dynamesh, but Zero Mesher. So I'm gonna hit it again. Just gonna bring that topology down to keep it nice and smooth before we will rebuild this. Okay, so I'm gonna hit this calculation. It's gonna be a little bit faster. There's some areas that are gonna be weird. That's fine. This area is gonna want to be weird like this. That's fine. Make sure symmetry is on, by the way, when you're doing this. Make sure symmetry is on. I'm gonna hit half. On half, on. I'm gonna hit it one more time. And he's just gonna give us lower and lower topology every time. Blowhole is gonna be right around here somewhere. Alright, I don't like how this edge is being treated, but everywhere else is pretty good. I'm gonna hit Legacy and see what that does. Half it again. Legacy is giving me slightly better results. Now see what it does to the topology. It tries to intelligently give us extra topology where it thinks we need it and less where it thinks we do not. It's not always going to be the best call, but he does try. He does try so hard. Okay. Not enjoying what's going on up here. This is probably a good point for that. And we can always go to deformation and over here hit relax. A little bit of a relaxing thing. Just give it a little bit. No, it's too much. I hate it. We can also go to deformation and apply smooth. Yeah. I hate that too. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're gonna go back to geometry, and from this we can probably, well, look what's happening back here. From here we can do zero measure with same and see what kind of different topology it gives us. And let's look at the reference one more time. Let's see through. That's not the reference we want. I want this one. So it's a relatively class ends in 1 minute. Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. You have the video. You have the video. You can watch this over the weekend. Alright. So probably what I want to do is with symmetry on, I'm just going to pull this up just a little bit, pull this in just a little bit with the move, just to kind of force it to give me a better transition. Okay, and then I'm going to hit Z measure on same again. Let's see, there we go. That's much better. It's a little bit sharp here, but I can live with that. I can live with this. It's much better. Much better. I want to move this in a little bit, like so. Move this out. This out a little bit. Move this in, like so. Then hit zero measure with same. There you go. I like this. I like this. Now if we want, we can let's see, we can move this up a little bit, like so, just to get this extra kind of mass here. Alright, there we go. So we got the overall shape in pretty good place. Okay. Only other thing we need to do is detail out kind of the small details of the, like for example, the nose. And for something like that, we would do BDS, if you all remember. Okay, we got BDS right here. And what we can do with BDS is have a low intensity, higher brush, and just gonna bring this, maybe not that low. Losing everybody. And BMV. Let's pull this nose out a little bit. Let's double check with the proportions. There we go. I think everybody left. They're hungry. I gotta eat. I got class. So I'm gonna bring the setup a little bit over here. Smooth where needed. Smooth where needed. Okay. Give it that nice form. Yeah. And the rest of this is just going to be nitpicking. That's nitpicking. Exaggerated this a little bit too much. Somewhere around here, maybe. Alright. Let's hit Control D once. to get that extra topology. And from here, with BDS, we can make sure we got that dolphin nose going on. We're going to Control D again if we need that extra detail. Just make sure that we got that dolphin nose. Alright, and if we get these weird arrows over here, what we can do is del lower and then tell it to zero mesh it at same, and that'll just ideally give a slightly better topology. Okay, and then you can kind of control and decide how much detail you want to put on this. We will be getting to the color next, and this is where we're going to be using our so now the topology is nice and clean here. I can basically smooth this out. Smooth this out for a cleaner topology. Okay, we're just getting that main shape in. Okay. So, next, what we want to do is deal with the color. So we're gonna be, if you remember, selecting the color we want. Probably want to avoid pure black, although it's not gonna be off. But I would just make it a very dark gray. I just make it a very dark gray like this. I'm gonna go to the material is fine, so I'm gonna go to mRGB here. Turn this off. Turn everything off. mRGB color. Color fill object. Okay, now we have this object. Next we're going to select a very light gray, so not pure white, just very light gray. Okay, and we can paint this in. There's a couple ways to do this. Let's look at our references again. So for the Orca Colors, okay, so we have the gray up here. We have the more clear ones over there. So again, we can paint it by hand. What we can do is, let's go out of perspective. So control with the brush with the lasso, the mask lasso, right? We can do something like, let me go back to my reference over here. Okay, try to line it up as much as I can. Something like this is going to be pretty close. And yeah, let me just kind of mask out the areas that I want to work on. I feel like there needs to be a few tweaks still, BMV. So with symmetry on, I'm gonna pull this down, I'm gonna pull this up to make it thicker. Pull this up and back because I lost some of that mass. I lost some of that mass in all that smoothing. I'm realizing BDS, so there's a mouth here. I want to make sure I capture. There you go. Let me turn this off again, like so. I just want to make sure I have an overall shape for where the mouth is. And you can kind of dig it in for the eyes as well. But just want to make sure you catch some of this light. Okay. Something like this. And and I believe usually the blowhole is over there. We can look at the references and get those details in. But back to see-through. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mask out those main areas that we need, and that'll be it for the video and the assignment. We're just gonna get as close as we can to this. BMV. Push this a little bit higher. Okay, so we're done with the mask lasso. I know that it's going kind of under this, so I'm just gonna get this area right here, and it is going kind of under. Like this. Okay, let's get away from see-through. This is fine for now. So going back to the color. Sorry. I'm gonna reverse this mask. It's already starting to look at that. So I'm gonna reverse the mask, but this is where this mask is gonna be useful because you can, with RGB, you can fill in the lighter gray, right? So, and I know it's not gonna be perfect. A lot of it is just gonna be painting. It's gonna be brush, fill object. Okay, now we're gonna clear the mask, so we have this color right here. Okay, now the cool thing about this is that now we can go to BST, which is a standard. We can tell it to be on RGB, and with symmetry on. Let's get a good reference for the belly too. Let's get a good reference for the belly. So Orca belly. Whoop. There we go. So we can see that this is going down here. So the bottom of the fin is going to be black, and this line is going to go all the way over there. All right, gotcha. So we're going to have this line kind of continuing over here. I'm doing this. Okay. And another new thing that we can do is, I remember with V, we'd flip back and forth. And with C, we can actually sample a color from our scene, and then we can V flip back and forth. So that way we can kind of paint in all of those extra details with the colors that we want, right? I want to get that front, the bottom of the mouth right here. Okay, getting there. There we go. Starting to look like an orca. Starting. I'm gonna have my references actually when I'm painting. I'm gonna have my references for the paint on this other side. So, I'm gonna notice that V to flip. I'm gonna notice that it's kind of coming in a little bit more before right around the middle part. Before going back out on my reference, and then slimming down again to like here, and then going back up. So maybe something like this, Okay. And what do we got going on that tail part? Okay. So this is gonna be where their pee-pee is, right here. And it's still white over there, so what am I doing? Oh yeah, wrong color. So hit V, flip that out. It's gonna be doing a shape like this. This is where studying our references becomes incredibly useful. Something like this. Getting there. All right. And some of them have like all these spots and whatever. Okay, usually actual area has X for symmetry, V to flip out the colors. Something like this. Okay, let's look at their tails from the bottom. So the bottom of their tails looks like it's usually white as well. So it kind of starts gradually. Now, one thing that we're gonna want to be mindful of is sometimes when we paint on one thing and it's very thin, it's gonna get on that other side. Okay, the way to avoid that is to go right here on brush, auto masking, and back face mask, and now it's not gonna paint stuff on the other side. On stuff that's like back facing. Okay, so we can paint here fairly safely, and it's not going to be affecting the other side, generally speaking. And again, I'm just like constantly like checking out my references on the other side, on my other screen, just to see where things go. Just to see where things go. Okay. Nice. Okay. Pretty good so far. Pretty good so far. Hit V to flip out. To flip those selected colors between those two. Okay. Next we got our the spot behind the dorsal fin. That's gonna be different from each one, but for each one. But note that they're usually not white, like a lot of those other ones are kind of clear white, but depending on the animal itself, some of them are gonna be more gray than white. Make sure that you don't turn off symmetry by accident, especially if your background is Photoshop, because then you're gonna hit X to flip the colors and it's not gonna give you what you want. Alright, so let's go back here. Remember, V flips out the colors. So what I want to do is select a nice mask, and I'll go back to my reference. And go to reference. And those of you joining in, all of this is going to be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. It is being recorded as we speak. So yeah, you can do this with me or follow along, or whether no, you're not on video, Alan, but I am mentioning you because you're always mention worthy. Oh, you want to be on the video? I can make you on the video. I can put you on the video. Okay. So, but yeah, it's gonna be on YouTube, just what you see on my screen, and I'll post a link later. What is happening here? Okay, BMV, and just oops. No, I don't want color. I want the ad. Just oops. Make sure symmetry is on. And just a little nitpick, just a little nitpick. Then hitting shift. Just hitting shift, just being nitpicky here and there. Okay. Remember, this is your model. You control how it looks. Just kind of figure out where to apply smoothing, where to move. You know, this is your choices, all choices that you're making. There we go. All right. right. Yeah, let me get to the mask again. So the mask lasso. I'm gonna make sure I got my reference here. Right around over yonder. Okay, and then I'm gonna just mask this. No, I'm gonna come here. I'm not super happy with this mask. I'm going to add a little bit more over here to it, like that. And I'm going to unmask this part. Okay. Now I got this nice mask. Turn see-through off. Okay. Got this mask. Going to flip it. Oh, I got a little bit of this here, so I'm going to just mask this out as well. Okay. Next, BST for standard. Okay, I'm going to turn that color back on. And now with this, what I want to do is control my RGB intensity. Control my RGB. Excuse me. Control my RGB intensity. Bring it down a little bit. That way, when we're painting this, make this brush nice and big. Yeah, so that we got a nice kind of fade, more gradual fade on this. Maybe a little bit more. Like this. Okay. There we go. Something like this. Something like this. And we're almost there. We're almost there. There's one more marking missing, the most iconic Orca marking. And that's what we'll do next, okay? How you all doing over there? Are we able to follow along at all, or we're jumping in too late in the project? Yeah, after I finish this, I'll take a bunch of questions and I'll show you specifics. BMV, hold on. Make sure symmetry is on. Got this bump over here that's a little bit. I want to smooth it out a little bit. Yep, you're creating the shape of the Orca like we did last class. Yep, that's fine. Yeah, and we'll be able to restart this video, and I can do an extra video with questions after I'll finish this video, because it's going to be the start to finish, and then I'll make another one for just specific questions, and that way that'll be recorded too, so that you can come back and watch either the video of me creating this from scratch or answering your questions. So hopefully that'll be enough resources for you. I know it's a lot. So I just realized something. This doesn't need to be that color. So I'm gonna, BST, make sure I'm on RGB. Wrong color, V to flip it. Intensity all the way back up. I'm just gonna block that in. Okay. All of this, I'm just gonna block in. See, I have this like seam right here in the middle. I'm just gonna hold shift, and I'm just gonna run along it, and you see how it kind of is gone now. So we're just gonna very nicely just smooth it out. But you will also notice that when you're smoothing anything, it will smooth your colors as well. So be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. That will happen. BST, wrong color, hit V, right color, and block it in. Likewise here, hit V, too much. There you go. All right, we're almost there. All right. What else are we doing? Okay, let's do that iconic marking behind the eye. And with that, we should be done. Okay. Kind of like this. Okay, I'm gonna hold mask, make sure symmetry is on. Symmetry on? Yes, it is. Okay. Okay, so mask. I'm just gonna, with the lasso. Oh my god, what's happening? Why is it doing it like that? Okay, the mask is asking. The mask is acting weird. Probably because I don't have enough definition. I'm gonna flip this around. One color, so RGB maximum V for white, and then on mask. Now we have it for the most part. I'm still gonna go in and kind of work on this a little bit, just because looking at my reference, you know, there's a certain line happening right here. Oops. V, certain line happening right here. So a little area for where the eye is. And again, all of these are going to be very unique per Orca. So pick one, stick to it. Something like this. Make sure got it good on both sides. Oh, what is this shape? This requires smoothing. So smooth, 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 smooth. All right. And I can probably even Control D one more time. And hit a smooth on the modifier right here. Deformation, sorry. Smooth right here. Just a little bit, just get those colors. Okay, let's go to perspective. And there you go. That's our Orca. We did it. We did it, guys. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, you guys are the best. This is ridiculous. Oh shit. We got him. Oh, I'm saving. This is the best thing ever. Oh shit. Wow, you did go to SeaWorld. That's amazing. Wow. The worst Photoshop I've ever seen. It's so good. Oh shit. Alright, that's funny. That's funny as hell. That's awesome. Alright. Oh, I got the best students. So this is our Orca. We can, you can continue choosing how much detail we want to put in. I love you all more, for sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it for this video, and I'm still gonna hang out. I'm gonna make a new video, and then I'll just take the rest of our class time just answering any questions you all have. This video is gonna be on the YouTubes, and will be, I know, honestly, I was looking forward to seeing your tablet. Just send me pictures. And oh my god, I'm so distractible. So yeah, so I'll save this, and then I'll stay here and we'll make a new video and I'll record all me answering your specific questions. That way you can refer to my answers over the weekend, because it's just a video, so you can just scroll to. And I know this one video is going to be running really long, so I think we are at, where is this? What's my timestamp? Yeah, so this video is 1 hour and 50 minutes long at the moment. So almost 2 hours. And that's, but this video that we're on right now, even with all the times I'm getting distracted, this is the Orca start to finish, right? I started from scratch. So having this resource is going to help you kind of follow along, especially because I introduced a lot of new concepts. Excuse me. Sorry. I know, gross. So I did introduce several new concepts as well to get to this point. So it'll definitely be beneficial to kind of scroll around and pause and like go back and re-listen, you know. But also, you know, I'm going to be around, and whatever questions you have, you know, over the weekend, I'm more than happy to answer. You know, this is my job. You know what I mean? So don't hesitate. And he's my big bean pog, very pog. All right, cool. So with this, we will call it on this live video, and then I'm gonna take a short break after this. I'm gonna hop back on, make a new video, and I'm gonna stay right here on the Discord, and we'll answer the questions, okay? So hopefully this helped. Hopefully you like my Orca, and hopefully your Orcas are gonna be splendid. All right. And just a reminder, quick last reminder for the assignment, okay? Lighting. So it's gonna need to be colored, and it's gonna need to be lit with 3-point perspective. So actually, let me cover this real quick before I forget, just so that you have it on the video. So double click here for the divider. Okay, if you have something here, if you have anything here, you can just get rid of it by clicking on this little chupchik over here, and it's gonna go away. So you're gonna go to light, click on the chupchik, and it's gonna send it right here. Okay. And remember, you probably want to save your default light just to be able to come back to it. So you hit save and you save that as file. Remember, your lighting setups are not saved with your tool when you save your tool. So you want to save that out separately. So, you know, whatever you have when it's open, hit the save, called default. I'm doing it right here. So we call it default light _ 1. That's ZLI, okay? Just so we have it, we can come back to it. So remember, 3-point lights have 3 points, right? And we're gonna this first one, you know, we're gonna move it off to one side. You can see it's already gonna be affected here. Then we're gonna add the second one. That's gonna be the fill light, and all 3 is fine. And we want that fill light right around here. We're already getting some pretty nice effects over here. Fill light maybe even here. So fill light on one corner is coming in right around here. Okay, then we have the fill light, so you can turn them on and off to kind of check it out. So this is the fill light only. This is no lights. This looks like that with no lights at all. Okay, and then we have our key light, fill light. Okay, and at the bottom we're going to create our rim light, or the backlight. And to do this, usually by default it's going to be set to radial, that third one. So just turn that off. And now it's still in the front, and it's still way too weak. So we're going to increase the intensity. Now it's way too strong, right? So we're going to click here, right here again. I hope my cursor is going to show up on the video, otherwise you have no idea what I'm talking about. We're going to click right here. That's going to send it to the back. Now you see we're getting this pretty cool rim light. Let's get it right around. The closer it is to the edge, the more of it you're going to get, right? So I'm just going to do this and increase the strength on it. Maybe even take it away from the edge just to give it more subtle kind of thing right here. It's pretty cool. I like this. So now I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to check each light independently. So key light, fill light, okay, and rim light. So I'm going to turn them all on. There you go. And I have this amazing lit Orca. And you can modify them as needed, you know, if you want it to be more subtle, like so. Closer to one edge than the other. It's totally up to you. And you can also change the light colors, but don't. Just keep it as is. Okay? So there we go. That's our Orca. I hope you all like it. For the assignment, you know, make sure you give me like perspective off. Okay, on this one you'll do like this. Side, Shift S. We'll do top like this. Shift S. We'll do front. Like this. It's whatever. It's fine. Maybe over here. Maybe something like this. Shift S, and then we're going to go into perspective, and I'm going to get a nice kind of dramatic angle here, like so. And if you want to get extra creative, just for this, you can go to document, and over here on back, you can hold this down, and that's going to let you sample any kind of background color that you want. So let's actually, here, let's pick a color. See, Weld wants to know your location. So let's pick a nice kind of chill neutral blue. Just get a little bit of bluish, not too much. Don't burn out my no purple. Okay. So then we're gonna go to document, and I have my color selected right here, right? So color, document, back. I'm gonna hold it down, drag it over here, and there we go. Okay, just a little bit, just to set. Okay, Alan, if you want your background to be purple, you can make it purple. Just don't make it like I already know. Look. Okay? Just don't do this, please. For the love of God. Please. I beg you. Don't do this. Just make it subtle. Subtle purple. Alright? Subtle purple. Look. There you go. Here, bring it slightly closer to bluish. More lavender. Document. Back. There you go. Lavender Orca. Oh my god, this video is over 2 hours long. It's ridiculous. Alright, let's not do this. Let's just keep it nice and aquatic. Like here. Nice and aquatic. Like here. Color. No, I'm sorry, not color. Document. Back. There you go. Okay, and then with snip and sketch. And do this, alright? And we're just gonna grab this. We're not doing anything fancy. We're just grabbing all of this, like that. Nothing too fancy. Just grabbing this. Okay? And there you go. You can save this right here. And you can post this on the forums here. I have this for you all for your references. See? There you go. Okay. And with this, I'm gonna call it for this video. I'm gonna go take a short break, and then come back and answer any questions that you all have, address any issues, walk you through as many times as you need to, and that'll be that for today. So yeah, I appreciate your patience. I hope you forgive me for not coming to visit you all in person today. But yeah, we'll be good. We'll be good. This is fun. Alrighty. So good work. Good work.